Hello there, other strangers. We need to have a serious talk today. I did not intend to make this video today. I fully intended to talk about something much lighter, something a little more personal than this. Not that this isn't personal, but definitely not this. But I can't stay silent while this is going on. There is a new bill signed into law this week in Georgia. You may have heard of it. It's known as the Heartbeat Act or the Life Act, and it basically criminalizes abortion after you can hear a heartbeat, which, according to most people, you can hear at 6 weeks. All abortions are now criminalized after approximately 6 weeks. Now, there is some discrepancy with what determines a heartbeat. People say you can hear a heartbeat at 6 weeks, but technically the heart hasn't developed yet. You can hear a pulse, but it's not a true heartbeat. Just to be clear, the language in the bill is very unclear, it's very sloppily written, and has very large sweeping implications that are really nasty for women. Like, terrifying, and I can't believe that this was a thing that actually happened. Actually, I can, because the governor is Brian Kemp. So you've probably seen all over social media all the reasons why these various bills are terrible, or it may not be clear which ones are the Alabama bill, which ones are the Ohio bill, and which ones are the Georgia bill, because all three have been talked about a lot this week. So here's a compilation about the Georgia bill, specifically what it's talking about, and some of the implications of this bill. So the first thing is, this bill intends to ban all abortions after 6 weeks. Most women, at the earliest, find out they're pregnant at 6 weeks. 6 weeks is about the time that you've built up enough hormones for a home pregnancy test to register. And unless you're at a doctor's visit and you have to pee in a cup, you're probably not going to find out any sooner than that. So essentially, you can't get an abortion as soon as you find out you're pregnant. And that's for a woman with an average cycle. An average cycle is 28 days. 2 weeks after that, 2 weeks after your missed period, is the soonest you can find out that you're pregnant. And most women aren't going to be checking that early, because guess what? There are all kinds of reasons you can skip your period. I've skipped several just from stress. And not to mention, 28 days is the average cycle. A normal regular cycle is anywhere from 24 to 35 days. In that range. So women who have longer cycles are even less likely to find out they're pregnant that early. And that's not even talking about the women who have irregular periods. They don't get periods for several months. They could get spotting in between periods. And you can spot when you're pregnant. So a woman may not even realize she's pregnant because she's still getting spotting that she thinks is her regular period. This is basically banning all abortions because it's impossible to find out in time to get one. This bill also prosecutes women who go out of state to get an abortion. This means that if a woman travels out of state to where it is legal to get an abortion, she can still be prosecuted. She can still be charged with a crime, even though she went to a legal state to get an abortion. This is essentially making women wards of the state. The state has control of her body no matter where she is in the United States. Women and their bodies belong to the state of Georgia now. If you are a Georgia citizen and a woman, your body belongs to the state of Georgia. That is terrifying. Anyone who helps this woman travel out of state to get an abortion, and anyone who even helps her plan to get an abortion, can be charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Because now, with this bill, this little clump of cells, because that's all it is at this point, is a little clump of cells, is considered a living, breathing human being. These doctors can also be charged with murder if they perform an abortion on a woman from Georgia. And these doctors who perform abortions can be charged with up to 99 years in prison, effectively imprisoning them for life. One, this is going to cause a huge burden on the court system in Georgia. It's already congested. And two, it's going to prevent women from seeking help who need it. It's not going to prevent women from seeking out abortions anyway. It's just going to prevent them from getting safe abortions. Now, because a fetus is considered a full living human being at 6 weeks, miscarriages can be investigated as second-degree murder. If it is suspected that a woman tried to cause a miscarriage, she can be reported, and she has to then prove that she did not attempt to make herself miscarry. This is already a physically and emotionally taxing time in a woman's life when she has a miscarriage. There was recently a BuzzFeed video of a mom who miscarried her third child. She talks about it took her 2 weeks to physically recover, and she's still emotionally processing this. On top of that, to be facing a police investigation because you had a miscarriage, just because your body didn't end up carrying a baby to full term, something you had no control over. And with second-degree murder, it can mean anywhere from 10 to 30 years in prison. 10 to 30 years in prison because your body didn't want to carry a baby to full term. Now that's kind of the basics of how the bill will be enforced. Now, there's other implications as well. For example, all of the charges I've listed are felonies. And guess what? Felons can't vote. Convicted felons can't vote. This is a way of causing voter suppression. Because we know court systems, based on studies that are extensive, there is lots of evidence to support the fact that the justice system convicts more poor people and more people of color than cis, white, straight, male people. People who can afford good lawyers. This is effective voter suppression of women, voter suppression of poor people, voter suppression of people of color. It's Republicans' insurance of keeping control over wherever they have control over now. It's making sure these people don't have a legal way to vote them out of office. They're taking away the little power that we have, not only of our bodies, but our ability to get rid of these people who are trying to tell us what to do with ourselves. And the icing on the cake is, the whole point of these bills is to overturn Roe v. Wade. They want lawsuits. They want this to get to the Supreme Court. They want this to get there. Now that the justices are more conservative than progressive, they know that this fight gets to the Supreme Court is gonna be the thing that overturns Roe v. Wade. They're just waiting for it to happen. That's the whole point of these bills. They take it to such an extreme because then we have to sue them. Then we have to go to a federal court. Then we have to take it to the Supreme Court. And that's how Roe v. Wade is going to be overturned. That's the implication of this bill in the end. The implication isn't just controlling women's bodies. The implication isn't just turning women into nothing more than breeding mules. The implication is taking away ability to vote, and the implication is taking away the constitutional right that we have now to privacy, to getting this life-saving medical care. The only exceptions to this bill are the life of the mother is at stake, rape, or incest. And you have to file a police report if you're claiming rape. Now, this law doesn't go into effect until next year, but that just means we can't forget about it. It means we can't forget to fight. It means we cannot let this by. We cannot. And the most terrifying part for me is, while I may live and work in Tennessee, I'm a citizen of Georgia. This is my Georgia driver's license. Does this law apply to me? Under his eye, other strangers.